Everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is our entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series, bringing back that lost art of conversation. And coming up right now, it's a very special tribute remembering television personality and award-winning TV game show host, the one and only Chuck Woolery, also actor, singer, radio host, podcast host, and so much more. He passed away recently, and we wanted to take a moment here on the Jim Masters Show to do a special tribute, remembering Chuck Woolery and his contributions to television, game shows, entertainment, and so much more. Of course, many of you know I work professionally in television and radio and broadcasting as a TV and radio personality myself, and I've done that work for a long time, journalist and host, writer, producer, MC, everything you can think of. On camera, behind the scenes in television, radio, and here online as a content creator and host of the Jim Masters Show. So with all of that, I always love talking about television, broadcasting, and entertainment, and celebrating the legends as well. So we're doing that right now as we remember Chuck Woolery. Thank you so much for joining us all around the world. We invite you to drop a comment in the comment section below to let us know what are your favorite memories of Chuck Woolery, favorite game shows and other shows that he was a part of. He also not only was a host of many game shows, like being the original host of Wheel of Fortune, also hosting Love Connection back in 2 and 2, and of course, Lingo and Scrabble and Greed and so much more. He was also an actor in many different TV shows and made appearances on stage. He was a singer, recording artist, and radio host, and so much more. And with all of that, we're celebrating and paying homage to this legendary television iconic figure who's been in the business for so many years. Again, we just lost him. He passed away at the age of 83, unfortunately. And but again, the enduring memory and the legacy lives on. He was born Charles Herbert Woolery, March 16th, 1941. He passed November 23rd, 2024. And again, you remember him from so many iconic shows over the years. There's an earlier shot of him around the time when he was doing the Wheel of Fortune. He was the original host of the iconic series Wheel of Fortune, which many of you, of course, remember. And as I mentioned, he hosted Love Connection, which was very, very popular. A lot of people were introduced to him through that series, though he had been working in television way before all of that. And just an icon in the industry, an American game show host, talk show host, actor, musician. He had a long-running tenures hosting several game shows. Chuck was the original host, again, as I mentioned, of the original daytime version of Wheel of Fortune. Did that from 1975 to 1981. The original incarnation of Love Connection as well from 1983 to 1994. He hosted Scrabble 1984 to 1990, and during a brief revival in 93 as well. He also hosted Greed, very popular, iconic series, game show. A lot of money being given away, like $2 million. Did that. It was short-lived, but there was a lot of fanfare when that show came out. That went from 1999 to 2000. So it wasn't that long. However, it left its mark because people still talk about that series. And that was, again, Greed. And do you remember seeing it? Did you ever get a chance to catch that show when it was on? I believe it was on Fox television network. And again, it was quite popular for a while there. And it was something else. It was just a unique show, the way that they did it. And again, giving away something like $2 million. He hosted that show and so much more. Again, we're going to go over a lot of his work, some of the other shows that he hosted as well. And again, Greed was from 99 to 2000. He hosted Lingo on Game Show Network from 2002 to 2007. Chuck Woolery's musical career includes several advertising jingles, a top 40 pop hit with a psychedelic pop duo, the Avant-Garde. Yes, here he is in the psychedelic pop duo Avant-Garde. You may not know that, or maybe you do remember that he was in that group. They had a number of country music releases with Avant-Garde as well. He was born in Ashland, Kentucky, the son of Katherine, a homemaker, and Dan Woolery, who owned a fountain supplies company. And after high school, he served 2 years in the United States Navy aboard the USS Enterprise. And in 1963, he worked as a wine consultant for the Wasserstrom Wine and Import Company in Columbus, Ohio. It was in the 60s. He sang and played the double bass with a folk song trio called the Bordermen. And again, also singing with the duo you see on your screen now, the Avant-Garde. And that was in the psychedelic pop genre. The other half of the duo was Bubba Fowler. They signed to Columbia Records and had a top 40 hit with Naturally Stoned in 1968, bringing the duo one-hit wonder status. It actually reached number 30 in Canada back in 1968. Really amazing stuff when you look back at it, huh? That's a cool photo going back in time with Chuck Woolery, which we're going to do here. We're going to go back in time a little bit and bring us up to date to some of the latest things he was doing before his untimely passing. In the late 1970s, Chuck Woolery returned to the singing career, and he charted on the Hot Country Songs with Painted Lady and The Greatest Love Affair. And between 1977 and 1980, Chuck Woolery recorded for Warner Brothers Records and Epic Records as a solo artist with 2 low-charting singles on Hot Country Songs. Chuck Woolery also co-wrote The Joys of Being a Woman on Tammy Wynette's 1971 album, We Sure Can Love Each Other. Now, as an actor, he appeared with a lot of incredible people. As an actor, he appeared with Stephanie Boyd, Rosie Greer, and Cheryl Ladd in the 1970s, right around mid-70s film, The Treasure of Jamaica Reef. Do you remember that? Well, here it is. He was in that. And now people are going to Google it and try to find it on the internet. Yeah, he was in, if you didn't see it originally, The Treasure of Jamaica Reef. And that was in the mid-70s as well. And something else really cool, the iconic series, and we just did a special on this. If you did not see the special we just did right now, recently, here on the Jim Masters Show, celebrating New Zoo Review, the iconic 1970s children's series. Well, recently we had Mary Jo and Doug from that series as special guests here on the Jim Masters Show. And I encourage you to go back in the archives and check that episode out. It was really something special. And in that episode, we mention, and again, this is archived on a YouTube channel, the incredible episode we did with the original hosts, Doug also a co-creator of New Zoo Review, very popular series. You can see it, I think, on some of the nostalgic channels as well. Chuck Woolery was in this series as Mr. Dingle. Did you know that? Yeah, he was Mr. Dingle in New Zoo Review. We talk about that in this episode, the Jim Masters Show series. So go back in our archives and check that episode out. It's very recent. We just did it with the gang from New Zoo Review, that popular children's series of the 1970s. And there he is as Mr. Dingle on New Zoo Review. Isn't that incredible? Yeah, it was a real classic, and people still talking about it today. And it was an honor to have an opportunity to chat with the gang, Doug and Emmy Jo, Doug and Emmy Jo from New Zoo Review. And it was really, really cool. So, Mr. Dingle. In addition to that, he also made a guest appearance on the very popular series, Tattletales. Tattletales, of course, originally hosted by the late Bert Convy, who was another great game show host and actor, and gone way too soon of I believe it was brain cancer, as he was hosting Super Password, I believe, and other shows. But there on the upper left with Betty White and Alan Ludden, and you see Bert Convy in the back there, is, of course, the gang. And there's Chuck Woolery. In addition to being on Tattletales, and that was again in the 70s, he made that game show appearance alongside then wife Joanne Flug, which you do see there right next to him. You see Betty White and Alan Ludden. You see Joanne Flug, his wife at the time, who was with him on Tattletales. Also, in addition to being on Tattletales, he was also on Your Hit Parade. I don't know if you knew that or if you remember it, but he was also on Your Hit Parade. and which that was really cool. That Tattletales episode I just showed you, where he was with Joanne and Alan and Betty White and the whole gang, that goes back to 1974. Yeah, that was back in 74. Boy, time sure does fly, doesn't it? But Your Hit Parade was another show that he was on. He did a lot of different things in the television industry. He really did. On January 6, 1975, he began hosting Wheel of Fortune at the suggestion of creator, the one and only Merv Griffin. Yeah, Merv Griffin said, hey, you'd be right to do Wheel of Fortune. And that's exactly what happened. He took an opportunity to host that iconic show and that series, Wheel of Fortune, and the rest is history. But Pat Sajak ended up replacing him as well, but he was the original host of Wheel of Fortune when it was the daytime version. You may remember the daytime version of Wheel of Fortune. It was a lot of fun. You know, that series is celebrating over 50 years now with Ryan Seacrest and Vanna White. But yeah, he was the original host of the one and only legendary game show, Wheel of Fortune. He was also on an episode of Love American Style. Of course, that iconic series as well. Love American Style. He had an opportunity to be on that as well in one of the episodes. Very popular series. I think it was Saturday nights on ABC, Love American Style. He was on that as well. So many great shows. But of course, Wheel of Fortune, being the original host for the period that he did it, was something quite special as well. And the reason why Merv Griffin picked and suggested that Chuck Woolery host Wheel of Fortune is because he saw him on an episode of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He saw him singing, and he thought he'd be perfect. He hosted the show for 6 years, and in 1978 was nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Host, which is something really cool. And he garnered that. That was the Outstanding Game Show Host or Host, Game or Audience Participation Show. And in 1981, he was involved in a little bit of a quandary, you know, over salary, things of that nature. So they moved on, and on came Pat Sajak as well. And but yeah, there was other hosts in there as well too. And because Bob Goen did it for a while, and now Ryan Seacrest is doing it. After all of that, Chuck Woolery had a wonderful opportunity to host another show that really became a signature show for him, which is Love Connection. And everybody remembers, you know, I'll be back in 2 and 2. They still say that. And he hosted Love Connection from 1983 to 1994, 1983 to 1994. So popular, and it aired in reruns for a long time. I think there may be places where you can still see it airing. It was unique. It really was a unique show, and he engaged the contestants. And of course, one contestant would be seated on the couch next to him. The other one would be on a screen, and it would be a whole thing as far as making that love connection between two people on the show. He had a ball hosting that show. He talked about that show a lot. He really enjoyed it. And again, that was from 1983 to 1994. So that was a pretty good long run hosting Love Connection. We'll be back in 2 and 2. You know, in addition to hosting Love Connection, he also hosted another show, another series called The Big Spin. And that was in 1985. He hosted The Big Spin, which is something unique and something cool. In addition to The Big Spin, then he moved on to Scrabble. Yeah, an actual TV game show version playing off the original board game of Scrabble. This was from 1984 to 1990. And then in 1993 as well, he hosted Scrabble. And that was really, really a great game. And also, in addition to that, If it doesn't stop, it doesn't, because he's prolific in the industry. He also co-hosted Home and Family on Hallmark. And that was from 1996. That was sort of a daytime talk show, lifestyle magazine show that was on Hallmark, which I believe no longer exists. There were several other hosts after, Mark Steinis and uh, so many others that hosted after. But he was one of the original co-hosts of Home and Family from 1996 to 1998. Then after that, again, he's really left his mark in so many incredible ways in television and in all our lives through the entertainment and the great hosting. Very smooth host too, professional, smooth, affable, not just in the game shows, but any kind of hosting gig that he had, including the dating game. He did that for a while as well, from 1997 to 1999. The dating game, of course, which was an updated version of the original dating game that everybody remembers from the 60s and 70s. Then came Greed, as I mentioned earlier, which was a very interesting show with big money. Like, I think the top prize was $2 million that they could give away in one night. And it was a big production, a big expense. And it was on Fox television network. And that was something that was from 1999 to 2000. Fox was still, the TV network was still relatively young. So that was a big, big, big show. But it didn't last very long, but it was a unique concept. After that, he hosted the TV Land Ultimate Fan Search from 1999 to 2000 on TV Land, which was a lot of fun as well. And he enjoyed doing that. That was on TV Land. TV Land has always been great. He hosted the Ultimate Fan Search, TV Land Ultimate Fan Search from 1999 to 2000. And then came another, I mean, his run of shows, one after the other, is really epic. Lingo was another one from 2002 to 2007. Another popular show. And this, of course, on the Game Show Network, GSN as they call it now. Back in the day, they used to just say the full name for stuff. They would say Game Show Network. And yeah, matter of fact, I don't know if you know, but I competed to be a host. Mentioned this, I think, on this show. I was in the national search for a game show host with GSN, and it was really incredible. There were thousands of people that showed up, and I was narrowed down to like 3 out of like 5,000 people. It was an amazing experience. I met so many incredible people. That's where I met Mark Summers from Double Dare and Nickelodeon initially, and folks from Sony Pictures and Synergy Group and the Game Show Network. And it was amazing. Like 5,000 people. They were doing a nationwide search for game show hosts, and being a broadcast host myself, just wanted to check it out and try it out and see how we did. It was amazing. I was already narrowed down to the very last, and there was a whole run of auditions we had to do, starting with the 5,000 people and narrowed down to like 1,000 and 500 and 150, all the way down to like the last 3. It was an amazing experience. Got a Sony 27-inch television, a beautiful letter from Game Show Network, and some great accolades. And it was really absolutely amazing. Loved it. They don't really do that now, but they used to do things like that where they would do a nationwide search. Well, of course, Chuck Woolery, as he moved on from TV Land's Ultimate Fan Search, as I mentioned, 2002 to 2007, Lingo came along, and that was a very popular show on Game Show Network. A lot of people liked that show. And he also did Chuck Woolery, Naturally Stoned. And you're probably like, huh? Yeah, he did. And that was, let's see, that was a short-lived reality television show, Chuck Woolery, Naturally Stoned. It was originally titled Chuck Woolery, Behind the Lingo in 2003. He also hosted his own talk show, The Chuck Woolery Show. I don't know if you knew that, but he sure did. This is Naturally Stoned, and this is the actual graphic from the Chuck Woolery Show. It was, they were sort of grooming him like they did with John Davidson and others to be a talk show host. So for a little bit, he had a talk show, a daily talk show. Only lasted a few months in 1991. But again, they tried to, pattern him as a talk show host. And as a matter of fact, we have a little treat for you here. We're going to take you back in time a little bit because we've got a clip from when he was the talk show host with the Chuck Woolery Show. Take a look at this, and then we'll be back.
Chuck's got a new thing that you ought to know. So woolly bully on his new talk show. Chuck Woolery. Chuck Woolery. Talking hot. What you got? Chuck Woolery. That's entertainment with a capital C.
Starting Monday at 9 on Channel 2.
How many people remember the Chuck Woolery Show? Again, that was in 1991, so you had to sort of blink to remember that one. But, it was a great concept, great idea. It just didn't necessarily take off, unfortunately. He was so well known for all the game shows that we're talking about here on the show. Even before that, as I mentioned, he was involved in a lot of commercials and jingles and all kinds of cool things. Jingles from the musical point of view, but also he was set up for lots of great TV commercials over the years. And we did a little digging here at the Jim Masters Show in the JMS archives. And take a look at this. Remember, of course, and I believe it's still around, the laundry detergent Fab, F-A-B, Fab. Well, that came out, I believe, in the 60s, 70s, maybe even earlier. He was in a commercial for that laundry detergent, Fab. Here is Chuck Woolery talking about Fab.
You all need new Fab. Only Fab has lemon freshness borax, yes, it's true. Now Fab's even better, because it's got new brightness, too. For wash and wear, permanent press, Billy's blue jeans and Betsy's dress. Well, they're always doing something good to Fab. It's true. Oh, Fab, we're glad they added all fabric brightness to the lemon fresh and borax in you.
Just thinking about that, that goes back in time, singing about Fab. He was a singer too, and a radio host, as I mentioned. He did it all, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the other cool things that he was involved in. And thanks for joining us, everybody around the world. I know we're remembering this iconic television personality here in America, Chuck Woolery, who passed just at the age of 83, just a matter of days ago at the time of this broadcast. So I put this together really quickly because we wanted to really pay homage as people are remembering and thinking about all the shows. And it's bringing back lots of memories for people who were fans of Chuck, but also of the iconic shows he's been involved in. He really left an indelible mark on television history. I want to also, while we're here, let you know, as I mentioned, we did specials on New Zoo Review, that iconic children's series from the 1970s where Chuck played Mr. Dingle. Check that out. We've also done specials and tributes with celebrity guests stopping by, sharing their remembrances of the iconic Bob Barker. Check that episode out. It was a tribute episode. Wink Martindale, legendary game show host, was with us, and many others, celebrating the Price is Right icon Bob Barker. We also did a celebration noting and celebrating with special guest Wink Martindale, who was another iconic game show host, and his wife Sandra joined us on that episode as well. Recently, we did a phenomenal tribute to Peter Marshall with celebrity guests John Davidson, Mark Summers, and so many others who stopped by our show. If you love the game shows, also Rich Fields, who was the announcer for The Price is Right, and lots more. He was recently with us. That episode is archived on our YouTube channel as well. And noted announcer Randy West was with us as well. He announced for The Price is Right and so many other game shows. He's a dear friend of our show as well. So you can check those episodes out here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We've talked a lot about television and the game shows, and we've done tributes and so much more. And all those episodes are available for your viewing pleasure, archived on our YouTube channel. As we're talking continually about the one and only Chuck Woolery, as I mentioned, he had that show, the Chuck Woolery Show, that didn't pan out, and it was cool to dig up that promo for the show and share it with you as well. He also, speaking of The Price is Right, and I told you we did a tribute to Bob Barker and some of the announcers that were on The Price is Right as well. Well, in addition to everything else Chuck Woolery has done, he's also had an opportunity to do hosting The Price is Right live at Harrah's Entertainment Casinos, and he appeared in the live stage show $250,000 game show spectacular at the Westgate, Las Vegas. So we did the Price is Right live at Harrah's Entertainment Casinos, which of course was a lot of fun, and he did that, which is really, really cool. And just again, so many incredible things that he's been a part of. And he was also on an episode of Scrubs, which of course was on NBC. That series, there he is when he was making an appearance, guest appearance on Scrubs. He did a lot of different appearances on television shows. There's another show that he hosted. This one was kind of funky, kind of interesting, very, very different. And it was Think Like a Cat. And I don't know if you remember that particular one. That was very interesting, that particular one. It was a little bit different. Didn't last very, very long, but again, that goes back in time, that particular one, right? If you look at his repertoire, he did this in 2008, Think Like a Cat. If you look at his repertoire of shows, it's really extraordinary. Here's another one too. He did the 80s quiz show with Chuck Woolery, and the 80s quiz show he did in 2024. That was this year. At the time of this show, he did that in 2024. Amazing. He did Wheel of Fortune, Love Connection, Scrabble, The Chuck Woolery Show, Home and Family, The Dating Game, Greed, TV Land Ultimate Fan Search. He did this show as well, very, very recently. So again, he was still working. He was still doing his thing in the industry. And again, everything is there for your enjoyment and re-airs and things of that nature. And Biography, 1999, he appeared in Biography. The episode was Bob Barker. And as I mentioned, Lingo, Think Like a Cat. He also is a radio show host, Save Us, Chuck Woolery, 2012 to 2014. He had a podcast that went from 2014 up until 2024. That was called Blunt Force Truth. And it was a conservative podcast with his co-host, Mark Young. In 2023, the Game Show. It was a game show documentary on ABC. And as I mentioned, the 80s quiz show in 2024. And as far as his acting, he did it all. I tell you, he really did. As far as his acting, he was in, as I mentioned, Newsy Review as Mr. Dingle. He would love American Style, ABC's Saturday morning cartoons, Sonic Boom, The Treasure of Jamaica Reef, that movie as the detective, A Guide for the Married Woman, Sweepstakes, he played in episode 4, Romance Theater, Six Pack, 227, he played himself in an episode called A Date to Remember, Cold Feet, he played himself. He played the Love Connection host on TV. And he also appeared in 1989 in Cold Feet as himself. And 227, it was A Date to Remember. Cold Feet, it was Love Connection. He was the Love Connection host on TV in Cold Feet. And in 1997, it was Hey, It's the Monkees. Played Chuck. It was a cameo as a nightclub owner. And I mentioned Scrubs earlier. That was in 2004. He played himself in season 4, episode 6. If you're looking for that. Some of his singles, too, his hot country songs, Painted Lady in 1977, Take Her Down Boys in 1977, and 1980, The Greatest Love Affair, some of the country music singles that he also left for all of us to enjoy. So many incredible things he's been a part of. I know I say that often, but it really is true. He has left quite a mark, and he had, again, this affable way about him that was warm and friendly. And there he is. This is more recent, one of the final photos of Chuck Woolery as well. I've also admired all these game show hosts over the years and the personal way, the warm way that they hosted, Tom Kennedy, Bob Barker, Bill Cullen. The list goes on and on and on. Jeff Edwards and Bert Convey, and of course, Gene Rayburn and Alan Ludden. So many incredible game show hosts. And Chuck Woolery, right at there at the top in terms of his affability, his humor, quick wit, fun, good times, laid back, and just made it interesting. And why I connect with all of this is because I work in television, right? So you guys know that I work professionally. When I'm not doing this show, I'm usually in a TV studio or a radio studio hosting various shows, or I'm on location on a TV shoot or filming on a film set. But one of the things that I had an opportunity to do and have had opportunities to do continually is to be a host with MGM, a game show host with MGM Resorts International. And here I am on location at one of the casinos and emceeing a lot of their game shows and their sweepstakes and entertainment programs. And it's such a delight to do that for MGM. So I can relate to the game show hosts because I've had the opportunity to do that work as well for MGM, which of course is an amazing company and a great company. And we've given hundreds of thousands of dollars away to lucky contestants. And it's a lot of fun and energy and passion. And again, it's something I've enjoyed doing. One of the many hats that I get to wear in this industry, being a game show host. Yeah. And a contest host with MGM Resorts International. It's a lot of fun. So again, that's another reason why I feel like I have this connection to the game shows specifically, is having enjoyed them over the years like you have. That's why you're watching right now as we're celebrating Chuck Woolery. But having had a chance myself to do this kind of work and do it, whether it's on television, I've done various versions on radio, and then doing it on stage at MGM Resorts and Casinos International, it's really a blessing. So amazing stuff when you think about it. And as we celebrate Chuck Woolery here, I encourage you again to leave your comments below. What are some of your favorite shows? Say hi to us. There's a comment section right underneath the episode. Say hi to us and let us know what are some of your favorite memories of Chuck Woolery and all that he did, whether it's maybe music or it is television or other things that he did. He truly left an indelible mark on all of us in Hollywood and television and in music in so many incredible ways. So I wanted to make sure whether you remember him from Mr. Dingle and Newzoo Review, or you remember him when he was on Tattletales with his wife then, Joanne Flug, the episode of Love American Style when he was the original host of Wheel of Fortune daytime version, whatever it may be, maybe Love Connection is how you got introduced to iconic television personality game show host Chuck Woolery, or maybe you saw him in The Big Spin or on Scrabble, hosting Scrabble. Maybe you loved when he co-hosted on Hallmark Channel Home and Family. He was perfectly suited for that as well. Or on The Dating Game, or Greed, or TV Land's Ultimate Fan, any of these series and shows. Maybe you loved when he did Lingo, or Naturally Stoned. Maybe you did get a chance to see in 1991 the Chuck Woolery Show, or maybe you caught him at Harrah's when he did Price is Right Live, or any of the other. Maybe you even got a chance to see Think Like a Cat, which was short-lived, but definitely left its mark. Or the 80s Quiz Show with Chuck Woolery, which he just did recently. He really, truly was an icon in the industry. And, of that time period when game show hosts were very, very popular, and, television, whether it's CBS, NBC, or ABC, celebrated all the game shows. I can't tell you how many game shows there were on television, like the soap operas. There were tons of game shows. And to have an opportunity to host the game shows and to develop this relationship, this love affair with the audience, something quite special. And the game show hosts really had the opportunity over the years to develop a warm relationship with the fans, specifically of the game shows. A lot of times they'll do other work as well, as I mentioned, whether it's acting. Some of them write a memoir. Some of them, leave the industry and they become they get into other, lines of work. Some of them become producers, directors, and they're behind the scenes after being on camera for many, many years. Whatever the case may be, it's really amazing because there's a time when the game shows really ruled on the major networks. And then, of course, Game Show Network was then formed. And there's all these other avenues now for these shows. And there's still new game shows being made. I mean, even right now, there's going to be an updated version of Hollywood Squares, and they brought back Match Game and the $100,000 pyramid or $25,000 pyramid. It's kind of cool when you see that. And of course, Dick Clark, one of the greats as well, who I've always admired. Merv Griffin, who created two iconic series, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, were Merv Griffin Productions creations. And he did the casting, and he was very involved in those shows. Those were his babies. And he picked Chuck to do Wheel of Fortune as the original host. And again, so many great, great shows. I hope you enjoyed this, folks. We want to do something special and just go back in time and celebrate Chuck Woolery and all of these shows and all of these specials, and take a look also at some of the other things that Chuck did besides the game shows, which he's most noted for, as Mr. Dingle on News and Review. The time he was on Your Hit Parade, his musical career, his acting career, and so much more. And again, he sort of finished out his life as a podcast host as well. And so cool stuff, right, gang? I hope you enjoyed this. This is what we do here. We have great conversations, and a lot of times celebrity guests and friends like to stop by and join us here. We love our viewers that watch around the world. If you enjoyed what we did here in celebrating Chuck Woolery, then we would love it if you give this episode a thumbs up like. There's a thumbs up icon. Click like. Share this episode on your social media. Drop a comment below in the comments section. Interact with us. Tell us about some of your favorite Chuck Woolery memories. We love to interact with you. We love to hear your feedback. So drop a comment in the comment section below. And if you haven't, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. The show is the Jim Masters Show, and the channel that it's on is Jim Masters TV. And if this is your first time watching, welcome. I encourage you to binge watch hundreds and hundreds of episodes we have for you in the archives. Yes, so many great episodes in the archives. And you'll be surprised if you've just joined us and never saw our show before. There are amazing, amazing archives that we have for you. And we just did a wonderful special remembrance on Florence Henderson. I had an opportunity to know her and meet her, and she was wonderful. We did a fabulous celebration on Florence Henderson recently as well, and so many others. A lot of times we have guests actually here with us, but sometimes we do these wonderful tribute episodes as well, like Bob Barker and Wink Martindale, Peter Marshall, Rich Fields has been with us. I mentioned Randy West, voices of the game shows as well, and News and Review, where, of course, Chuck was Mr. Dingle. It's always great to have you with us, folks. We really, really enjoy your company. We encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know, what do you love about our show? Drop a comment in the comments section. Connect with us as well. Don't forget as well, we are on social media. You can find me on social media. Very easy breezy. It's Jim Masters TV on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and also on Instagram. Right there are the social media handles. So connect with us there, like and follow and all the rest, and we'll do the same. And again, we love doing these things. We love putting shows like this together for you because we know you enjoy them. And so many of you asked me if we could do a tribute special to celebrate the life and remember Chuck Woolery. So I moved fast, just like we did with Quincy Jones. We had an incredible episode recently with mega celebrity guests. Melissa Manchester and Melba Moore and many others joined us as we remembered the titan in music legend and icon, Quincy Jones. If you didn't see that episode, it's also archived on our YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure as well. Check that out, gang. I think you'll love that if you missed it. So we don't just do tribute episodes. We have guests that come in too, but we moved fast on this because so many of you asked for something like this. So would have been great, of course, to have Chuck as a guest, but in remembering him in a way, his spirit is with us. And again, many decades of television entertainment he has shared with all of us. Lots of laughs, lots of memories, and a very special tribute and celebration for all of you. And for me, I get a kick out of this too, as we remember and we celebrate the icon, the one and only Chuck Woolery, who again just passed recently at the time of this show. And we wanted to pay a remembrance to Chuck for all the fans out there and for you. Good stuff. You're watching the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. Come see us again, folks. We love having you here. As we always say, we try to put a positive spin on things. Don't forget to love one another. Don't forget to take care of one another. Don't forget to take time for and love yourself. It's really important to do that. All right. You guys are the best. We love hearing from you. Like, comment, subscribe, interact with us. Stay tuned. Another great episode comes up. Binge watch past episodes. And we really enjoyed putting this together as we remembered Chuck Woolery with this very special tribute for all of you. Be well, everybody. And rest in peace, Chuck Woolery. Take care. See you soon. And cheers.